So there's this unspoken rule that we use in medicine, environmental law, and in nuclear energy decisions. And it goes, if something can cause serious harm, and we're not sure yet, we slow down until we understand better. But when it comes to technology, it seems like we do the opposite. The rule I'm talking about is called the precautionary principle. In simple terms, it says, if an action might cause serious or irreversible harm and the evidence is uncertain, the responsibility is on the people that are developing it to prove that it is safe, not for society to deal with the damage later. This principle shapes how we approve drugs, chemicals, and energy systems. But in tech, it's almost never applied. And that's not an accident. Tech is treated as experimental by default. We let it run first, then decide whether it was a mistake. That's already a philosophical choice, even if no one actually calls it that. To be fair, technology isn't like chemicals or medicine. Software, it changes quickly. It can be updated, rolled back, and adjusted. If we applied the precautionary principle too strictly, we might stop innovation entirely. That argument only works if the harm it causes is reversible. But a lot of tech harm actually isn't. You can't take back data that has already been spread everywhere. Once people know, they know. Social systems don't just reset if behavior changes. Platforms don't undo years of influence with a patch. And precaution exists specifically for cases like this. So this matters more now, because AI isn't just consumer software anymore. Governments are building it into research systems, energy planning, and national infrastructure. Once technology reaches that level, it's no longer optional. Exactly. When something becomes infrastructure, society can't just opt out of it. And that's when precaution usually kicks in. But with AI, we're still using this startup logic. Fast rollout and fix it later. And then apologize if needed. So supporters would say the risk of not adopting AI is also serious. Falling behind economically, losing competitiveness, letting other countries set standards. That pressure, it's real. It is. But urgency isn't a moral argument. Every high-risk technology comes with this race narrative. And that's exactly when precaution needs to hit the hardest. It's the most important time. Otherwise, we just say speed becomes justification for everything. So the real issue isn't whether tech should be regulated. It's why we assume that experimentation on society is acceptable. But only in this domain? Yes. We would never release a new drug and say, oh, we'll see what happens at scale. But we do that with systems that shape our attention, behavior, work, identity, and how culture penetrates and infiltrates these days. And the thing is, we call it progress. The precautionary principle is not anti-technology. It's about deciding in advance which risks society is willing to take and which it isn't. And right now, tech often skips that conversation entirely. So I think we all know the real question isn't whether AI is good or bad. It's why technology seems to be the only domain where we accept large-scale uncertainty after deployment and don't check that uncertainty beforehand. And what would it mean if we did treat it with this precautionary principle? How would things be developing? Would it be slower? Would we have less very damaging cases in the use of AI? I'm not sure. But the onset risk, the existential risk that people are slightly scared about with AI, maybe we should apply that principle here. I don't know. Maybe my boyfriend will be a robot. Thanks for coming along on this one. I think it's an important one that we need to speak about. I'm not sure. Remember, when we're dealing with uncertainty, we never really know the answer. So that's why maybe we should be employing this. But I don't make the big decisions. Also, it's Friday. It's almost the weekend. And it's almost Christmas.